I've been wanting to do this video, for the longest time, man. Um, Quite frankly, it's been a culmination of years of going through it firsthand. Growing up watching Tupac, Biggie, you know, um, hearing the music, being a young guy, just listening and enjoying great music. But when I was younger, I could never really appreciate what Tupac really meant into the industry. To the industry, of course, to after I grown up and begin to experience life myself and kind of see, me and my brother can look at things parallel, you know what I mean, and some of the conditions that we grow up in. So when you're younger, and your childhood maybe not as harsh as, the average person, you know what I mean, you had good parents and whatnot. Yeah, you struggle, you know what I mean, but, you're able to still see some of the things that some of these other people, have, you know, experienced in life. So when you begin to look back and you compare Tupac or even Biggie to the current day rappers, you're kind of disappointed to a certain extent. I mean, you got some people who have held their own, you know what I mean, the Jay-Z's, the Nas's that came out of that era. But there's very few that could kind of touch the people and inspire the people, and create almost a revolution like our brother Tupac Shakur, coming from a lineage, you know, of an extraordinary mother, Alfini Shakur, who defeated the United States government all by herself, pregnant with Tupac. So this is the bloodline, the lineage that Tupac comes from, greatness, the Black Panthers, and Biggie, not so much of a revolutionary background, but a background nonetheless, and influential nonetheless. It can't be argued. Probably one of the two most influential hip hop stars ever. So what really happened though? Because you see, these two brothers were ascending fast, and at one point they were brothers, they was friends, sleeping on each other's couch. This is a fact. You hear him say it. And then how could they go from that all the way to putting two coasts against each other, East versus West? If you go over there, you was getting here. You came over here, they was crushing the buildings, and everybody was like, "Fuck New York," because of the way to New York, they had this arrogant attitude, like can't nobody do it like them. Even despite the fact that Tupac was raised or born in New York and raised on the East Coast, partially, and then moved to California, he vibed better with the West Side for whatever reason. He became a Californian. You know what I'm saying? So these two rappers are making great moves, making waves, right? And Tupac has always been under investigation, always been watched because of his bloodline, his lineage. You know, the rebellion spirit of revolution that we all should embody at some point in time in our life. You know, Tupac begins to put this, in word form, art form. It begins to touch the people. Brenda's Got a Baby, Changes, Dear Mama. It's going to the soul of black people. It's lifting them up to a certain extent. But he had a portion also, we have to talk about the other portion, the duality. The other portion that was taking him down, the negative and the positive, balance, right? But did his good outweigh his bad? So we know that around the time they both could admit, and Biggie even more, that it was kind of something that was blown up, man. Especially the East versus West aspect. That was blown up. You know what I mean? It was put in, I think it was a Vibe magazine, if I'm not mistaken. East versus West. The media propagated this battle. So now these two brothers sit, rivalries, representing two equally most powerful coasts, arguably the most powerful coasts. East, West, New York, Philadelphia, Maryland, all your, Boston, all these eastern states against, California, Nevada, and all the other western states over there that rep the West Coast hard. That got the West Coast, Snoop Dogg, the one that came through and said fuck New York and crushed the buildings, right? So we know something called the hip hop police, that it was already proven, right? And this is the truth, what really happened. It was already proven that FBI has surveillance on this guy 24/7, 7 days a week, around the clock, sitting outside your window. That's the way they was watching him. So how does he get murdered at the biggest fight, the biggest event that night, arguably in the city, and nobody sees nothing? Come on, man. All these years later, no motive, no killer, no nothing. Right? So Biggie, same situation, hip hop police, going around, watching every move, making sure they stay within the parameter. They don't get too far out like Tupac did. Because if he got too revolutionary, he can ignite a nation. And he can have them open their eyes and see who is really oppressing who here. Even though, yes, we are a victim to these substandard conditions. Yes, we are. We understand that. But we got to understand who put us there. But also, he was giving people the responsibility of telling us that we have to treat ourselves better in order to get out of it. So he gave you both. He gave you both perspectives. So what really happened was, Tupac was hanging out with a lot of gang members, around that time. Bloods, Crips, any, gang in the West. And it was starting to get to them, his politicized black power rhetoric, as you would call it. That was getting to him, and it's real talk, and it's resonating with these gangsters. And so they start to, again, see who's really oppressing who here. And they say, we need to turn, if we came together and did this, then this is how we could come out. And that was a problem for the establishment, the same government, the same COINTELPRO program that tried to stop the rise of the Black Messiah. And it's like, we're not rising in tyranny or oppressing anybody. We're trying to rise from that. So yes, we're standing up. And the crazy part is they attack neighborhoods that were trying to do for themselves, like police their own community. This government didn't want that. They didn't want the Black Panthers creating programs and stuff to help them people so we could be self-sufficient and not dependent on the governmental system that we are to this day. So this is the one that this government attacked. These are the people, these proactive people. Not perfect, no. Yes, they had flaws, but they had their intentions. What were their intentions? What were their motives? I believe they were good. So this was a problem. Biggie had the East Coast. He was very influential. But see, the government seen that they had the power to unite and turn one coast against each other. But imagine if they united and they got cool. Because it should have never really went there anyway, the beef. It was blown up by a publication. And, other rappers started getting involved. So once it gets into the media, it goes all over the place. Just like now. Now it's even worse. So it is my summarization all the years of studying, research, watching different things, and just thinking about it, bringing history to the day and what I know this government has a track record of doing. I could surmise that the United States government was responsible, whatever branch, for the murder of Tupac Shakur, through whatever police officer they want to say, LAPD. It's all connected. All the branches, of government, the military branches of government are all connected. They all work with each other. So it doesn't really matter. FBI, LAPD, all the same. They were responsible for the death, of Tupac Shakur. A lot of things that, this is a track record of what they got doing. They say with their own words that they're trying to stop the rise of a Black Messiah. Tupac would be considered a Black Messiah if he was able to unite a whole coast. Marcus Garvey would be considered a Black Messiah if he was able to get millions of people together. They would be considered Black Messiahs, man. You can't argue that. And the same thing with Biggie. Same thing. And Faith Evans, she had an interview where she touched on it. You know what I mean? Numerous people alluded to it. They just can't say it. I'm gonna say it. You know. So that's that. That's what happened. It was to send a message also to other people. You know that you're not gonna try to take power as a people. No, we're gonna dictate what power. So it's cool for y'all to bubblegum rap and tear yourself down. That's cool. But for you to start uplifting yourself and being self-sufficient, nah, we can't have that in this country. It's not good for business at the end of the day. So that's my opinion. This is Brother Old God from In the Black Hip Hop News. You know what I mean? Hip hop news from a conscious perspective. You already know what it is. Street conscious perspective. Hit that subscribe button. Yo, go into the description box right now, real quick. Boom. You can cut me off. Go in the description box. Subscribe to our backup channel, Black Hip Hop News. The numbers is growing, but I want them to grow faster. Black Hip Hop News Reloaded. So y'all never, ever miss us. It's your brother, Old God. Peace. I'm going to see y'all later. Have a beautiful day.